Good evening, everyone. Mike Square. We have a very special guest this evening, Auntie Joan and Casey, who are here to help us get started off in a good way.
Mike Square. Trimo ai conhecilo nala, antepasco como dice afternoon.
Mike Square. Antepasco como dice afternoon.
Good evening, everyone, and I'm so, as always, very humbled to stand in front of you to be part of the sacred circle for a moment. Today I come, as I always do at the end of the year, to give my thanks and my deepest gratitude to the work that you do for all of us. Just this week, we had a celebration with BC Housing to celebrate a way of being, a partnership that is really moving in a really profound way. But what most people don't know, this model is following what you do. The model that we've adopted of how to work in a partnership is your model, championed by Superintendent Saywell in the work that he and I do on a regular basis. So today I'm here to give you thanks for your leadership and your commitment to a way of being. As only it is at an organizational level when we work together the way that we do, is how we really affect change. Things are at such a touch point that we really have to work together or nothing will change. And you're true leaders, and I'm prayerful that one day you will tell your story so that it can grow and go province. Your story is an important story to tell how the partnership works, how walking together really is a way forward. Taking down false boundaries, moving away from jurisdictional issues. We're not argumentative, we're not combative. All we do is focus on solutions. It's all we do as a family. That's why I'm here today to say, Aitzaka Siamensiaya. But in addition to that, I really want to give a special shout out, Mr. Saywell. In our meeting, we brought the land into the middle of the room, which was so amazing. Nobody realized that why the method to our madness, but it was a way of honoring the land. So everything we looked at was a reflection of the land. Mr. Saywell brought the language into the room. There were two witnesses, he and one lady from BC Housing. He stayed 3-5 minutes in the language. You could hear a pin drop. And basically a standing ovation. It made the picture complete. The language had to be there, otherwise we had missed a step. The commitment and way of walking with us, Mr. Saywell, was deeply grateful, as are the Chief and Council, fully appreciative of all that you do for all of us. Today, the gift that we bring today is a song. This is my granddaughter, and as you may have noticed, my namesake. That for us, the work that you do is unmatched. The song is going to be your healing, your medicine, and giving you that strength to hit that reset button, because you get to take a bit of a break, pause, start again. So we're prayerful that the words, the songs that you hear today is going to stay with you through the summer and all of the days to come. A blessing for each and every one of you. Thanks.
Aichka. Siatolatush, Nanemuk, Muslimuk, Nuhak, Wushasta, Tumak, Tanakwel, Aksepka. Thank you very much for starting us off in a good way. First, beginning of the year, and now at the end of the year to bring us full circle. So really appreciate the partnership that we have and all the good work that we've been able to do for our students, for the people of our community. We look forward to continuing to work together as one family, walking in two worlds. And I really appreciate everything that everyone's been able to accomplish, and really look forward to what we can accomplish in the future as well. So you're definitely welcome to stay, of course, and that's up to you. Okay, so I'll call us to order, and just want to start off with a message. So it's my privilege to extend my heartfelt congratulations to our amazing students who are graduating this year. Your remarkable dedication, hard work, and perseverance have led you to this significant milestone. On behalf of the board, I applaud your achievements and wish you a bright and prosperous future. I also want to express our deepest gratitude to our esteemed teachers and support staff. Your unwavering commitment to our students' growth and development has made a lasting impact on their lives. Your contributions are immeasurable, and we are truly grateful. I'd also like to acknowledge the invaluable contributions of our senior management team. Your exceptional leadership, guidance, and strategic vision have helped us achieve outstanding results, and we're deeply appreciative. Furthermore, I'd like to extend our gratitude to our trustees, my gratitude to our trustees for your dedication and support throughout this school year. Your invaluable insights, wisdom, and guidance have played a pivotal role in our success. It's with great enthusiasm that I anticipate working alongside you in the upcoming school year as we continue to share towards our shared mission to educate all students to become confident, curious, and caring by creating an inspiring, inclusive, and healthy environment to work, learn. As we embark on the summer break, I encourage you all to take the time you need to rejuvenate and recharge. Your dedication and tireless efforts have shaped the educational landscape, and it's crucial that you prioritize self-care and relaxation. May the summer bring you moments of joy, reflection, and rejuvenation. Finally, let's take a moment to reflect on the accomplishments that we've achieved this year. Every milestone, big or small, is a testament to our collective efforts, dedication, and collaboration. So thank you all. Moving on with our agenda, we have no transfer to open today. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes in order? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Moved by Leanne, seconded by Mark. All in favor? I'm gonna have to just switch back to my screen here so I can keep Tanya in the loop here. Carried, thank you. Moving on to the approval of the minutes, that the minutes from the regular Board of Education meeting held May 24th, 2023 be adopted. Moved by Naomi, seconded by Charlene. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Moving on to the section 72.3 report. There's a motion that reads as follows, that the section 72.3 report from the closed Board of Education meeting on May 24th and the special closed Board of Education meetings held on May 30th, June 12th, and June 19th, 2023 for all three of those be received. I have a mover. Moved by Chantel, seconded by Leanne. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to section 9, announcements and reminders. We have our education committee meeting scheduled for September 6th, 2023. Business committee meeting September 13th, 2023. Board of Education meeting August 30th, 2023 and September 27th, 2023. And statutory holiday September 4th, 2023 for Labor Day. Have no presentations this evening, so move on to section 11, correspondence. Under section 11.1, correspondence from the Nanaimo Climate Action Hub. We have a recommended motion if there's someone who'd like to read it. Charlene?
Excuse me. That the Board of Education of School District Number 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith, refer the correspondence from Nanaimo Climate Action Hub to staff for response and to the Environmental Stewardship and Sustainability Advisory Committee.
We have a seconder. Deanna, would you like to motivate the motion, Charlie?
Thank you. I kind of forgot that stuff. I appreciate what has been raised in the letter, and I believe that our staff are well equipped to provide an initial response, but I also think that there's some great information here that our ESAC committee could grapple with and have some good conversations about that'll support the board's goals and values. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion? Mark?
Thanks, Greg. I'd like to make and propose an amendment that we also send it to the policy committee, because we're talking about corporate sponsorship and there's a lot of policy to unpack there. I'm wondering if there'd be some value in that. So I'd like to move that we also forward it to the policy committee.
Is there a second to that? Chantel?
Yeah, thank you, Greg. This is part and parcel to something that's very important in my heart, which is environmental stewardship and sustainability. But more importantly, on the grand scheme of things, it discusses directly to corporate sponsorship and corporate messaging within our schools. And I believe that there's a lot of unpackaging to do at the policy committee level. And I think there's value in that. And I think that with more eyes on the issue, it's better served going forward to come up with more progressive ideas to tackle this appropriately. So, thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, let's start speakers list. I have Charlene and Chantel. Yes. Okay, go ahead, Charlene.
I have a microphone now. Thank you for this idea. I'm going to speak against the amendment because I think what I would what my preference would be is that the Environmental Stewardship and Sustainability Advisory Committee have that discussion and make a recommendation on policy changes that we already have in place and tell us what's missing so that we're kind of enveloping all of their feedback into that conversation. I feel like we could do it in a stepwise fashion. And I think the ESAC committee can set us up that way rather than it go two places and be discussed at the same time. I just wonder if that wouldn't be more efficient. So, thank you.
Great comments. Chantel?
Thank you through you, Chair. Charlene actually took the words out of my mouth. That's literally exactly what I was going to say. And I think it gives the policy committee time to work on other policies right now that we have that's piling up, but to bring it back to that once the Stewardship and Sustainability Advisory Committee kind of has some more in-depth information that we can bring back to the policy committee. But I do really appreciate that because that is a really good point about policy. Like, didn't even think of that. And so I'd like to see them kind of come forward with some recommendations to the policy committee, maybe to save time as well on that end of things. So thank you.
Okay, sorry, I'm just struggling with some technology here. I have Tanya and then Naomi. And then you want to be back on the list, Mark? Yes. Okay.
What I was going to say is sort of just been said. We already do have a corporate sponsorship policy, so I think it would be more effective to allow the Environmental Stewardship Committee to take a look at the issue, go through the work, and then have recommendations for the policy committee rather than having them both working on it at the same time.
Thank you, Tanya. Naomi? You could. I think everyone's had a chance to speak, but let's just not give Mark a chance to.
So, formally engage. See, does anyone else want to speak?
Okay.
Which technically.
We only have two people on the speakers list, so perhaps Naomi, is that what you wanted to do? Is call a question?
Mhm.
Okay, Mark, did you want to speak again?
I did, just to clarify the reasons why I wanted to unpackage it, but if it's the will of the board to move forward and call the question, I'm happy to do that, but
Naomi? Oh, seconder for calling the question, Charlie? So all in favor of the amendment?
No, all in favor of calling the
Of
question.
calling the question, thank you. All in favor of calling the question? Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna call a vote. All in favor of the amendment? Mark's in favor, does not carry. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the original motion. So Tom is not here. Wait, Tanya.
No,
Tanya votes no, thank you. Not in favor. Tanya, just to be clear, you mean the amendment or the original motion?
The amendment.
Thank you. So the amendment fails. So we'll go back to the original motion. Any further discussion on the original motion? Okay, I'll call the question on the motion as presented. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to 11.2, D. Ritchie. We have a suggested motion if a trustee would like to read it. Naomi?
That the Board of Education of School District 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith, refer the correspondence from Nanaimo Climate Action Hub to staff for response and to the Environmental Stewardship and Sustainability Advisory Committee.
I think you read the wrong motion.
Oh dear, I'm sorry. Yes, D. Ritchie. That the Board of Education of School District 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith, refer the correspondence from D. Ritchie to staff for response.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Charlene. Any discussion? See any discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Tanya, if it's easier for you, you could just leave your camera on if you like. Moving on to 12.1 Business Committee. Now, Tanya, if you don't mind, Mark had asked to speak really quickly before you introduce the first motion.
Sounds good.
Thank you for your indulgence, Chair. So good evening, trustees. Just wanted to put it on the record because I know lots of folks are watching, but I think there was a bit of media with respect to our capital plan that came out that maybe was not quite as clear as it could have been. So there was a concern that when the board's voting on tonight's capital plan, you will see that certain Ladysmith projects are off of this capital plan. The reason is because they've already been approved to plan, not that they're not priorities for the district. So I'm going to reach out to a few administrative colleagues in Ladysmith to make sure that everyone knows. And if anyone has any questions, please, you can refer them to me. You'll see there's some Ladysmith, I believe there's still some Ladysmith primary projects that were got in there. The point we're making is replacement. And here's all the systems that are breaking down that are not typically covered by seismic, but the seismic is approved. ENO is approved to plan, and Ladysmith primary expansion is approved to plan. So it's not that they're less priority of the board, it's that we've already got the go ahead. So to be clear, they're still, in fact, the next priority from an actual boots on the ground perspective.
Thanks for that clarification, Mark. That's really important. Okay, so we do have 3 motions from the Business Committee, and I'll pass it over to Tanya to give us the report.
Thank you, Greg. The first one, that the Board of Education of School District number 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith, in accordance with provisions under section 142(4) of the School Act, approve the proposed 5-year capital plan for 2024-2025 as provided on the 5-year capital plan summary for 2024-2025 submitted to the Ministry of Education and Childcare.
Thank you, Tanya. Do you have a seconder? Seconded by Charlene. Would you like to motivate the motion, Tanya?
I think that staff have done an excellent job with capital plan. I think it addresses the core issues that our district is facing, and I would think that we need to support it and move it forward.
Thank you, Tanya. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Tanya. Go on.
Next one.
Yes, please.
Okay, that the Board of Education of School District number 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith, in accordance with provisions under section 142(4) of the School Act, approve the proposed minor capital plan for 2024-2025 as provided to be submitted to the Ministry of Education and Childcare.
We have a seconder. I think I saw Leanne first that time. Would you like to motivate the motion, Tanya?
Again, I think staff has given us a very good explanation at the Business Committee of their thinking around these proposed requests to the ministry. They are in line with our strategic plan and are supportive of our students, and we should move it forward.
Thank you, Tanya. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. On to the third one, please, Tanya.
Thank you. That the Board of Education of School District number 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith, directs the chair to write a letter to the Minister of Education and Childcare to request immediate adjustment of the district's pay equity supplement to reflect the district's cost of implementing pay equity as of 1998, or alternatively, fund the district at the provincial average of pay equity supplements received by all districts based on FTE, and request a meeting to discuss the request.
Thank you, Tanya. Seconded by Charlene. Would you like to motivate motion?
Yes, please. I think that pay equity I'm extremely proud of the work that our district has done on pay equity, and I think it's frustrating and unfair and frankly demoralizing to see us essentially being punished for our foresight forethought and commitment to our staff to see other districts receiving these funds and us not receiving them because we were a little ahead of the curve it's a matter of fairness. So I believe we owe it to ourselves and to our students to be pursuing this.
Thank you, Tanya. So discussion, I've got Charlene. Anybody else? Mark.
Thank you. So I'm going to speak in favor of the motion. First, offer my thanks to Greg for bringing this forward. This is a continued conversation from the last board, and I think it's important that the ministry understand that we are clear that there is a potential of winners and losers when the changes happen in order for this to actually be an equitable decision across the province. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the fact that our students deserve better and that we're advocating for the money that we really should have been getting all of these years. And I recognize that that might not be the same feeling that other districts would have, but I think this is the right thing for this board to do for our students for today and to try to make up for the losses from before. And I appreciate the approach and the inclusion of a request for a meeting to have that discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Yeah, great work. I mean, this is very important. It goes to show that no good deed goes punished, right? I'm just wondering, I'm looking at the opportunity to do a little bit more, and I'm afraid to make an amendment because I know what's to happen. So I'm wondering, instead of writing just a letter to the Ministry of Education, we could write an open letter to the Ministry of Education so that the public is aware of what has happened and what situation we're in and how, because we were so ahead of our time, it's kind of bitten us on the foot. I'm just wondering if anyone has any appetite for that before anybody makes an amendment. Thanks.
Well, Mark, I would leave that to you if you don't want to discourage you just because the board didn't support your last amendment. Obviously, you're more than welcome to make any amendment you so choose. It would be helpful, I think, for the discussion if you had some wording for the board to consider, and then see how it goes.
Sorry, I keep turning off and on my microphone. I'm just offering a friendly amendment that we add the word open letter so that we can make a press release and send it to the media so that the public is aware of why we're here today. Just the addition of an open letter. So I would make that amendment propose.
Okay, so just to be clear, the amendment would be to change the words from the chair directs the chair to write a letter to directs the chair to write an open letter.
Yes, Greg.
Okay, so I'll make sure it's good. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Charlene. Okay, would you like to motivate your motion, Mark, your amendment?
I think I kind of just did previous. Okay. It's just so the public can have a better idea and more knowledge of how we got to here. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
And thank you, Charlene, for seconding that.
And Tanya, I see that you had your hand up, I believe.
Thank you, Chair. Yes. I'm a little on the fence on this one, Mark. I see what you're saying, and in principle, I agree with you that we want the public to be educated and aware of this. I wonder, the media does pick up our board meetings, and they do report on motions that are of important interest, and they will likely catch this one. The concern I have is, having done advocacy, when you're having a debate with a ministry about something particularly like this has the potential to embarrass them, that you want to keep this in your back pocket as your last resort rather than pulling it out as your first resort. So I just wonder if we should consider that maybe we want to hold off on utilizing the media in this way quite yet.
Thanks, Tanya. Next on the list is Charlene.
Thank you. So I'm going to support the amendment because we've been publicly discussing this issue for, I don't know, when did our Secretary Treasurer start with us? It's been a few years now. And so I think we've started the public conversation and we need to continue the public conversation. There's other districts that are looking at us and wondering what we're doing around our advocacy, that have reached out from districts that are in the similar position to us. Not everybody's ahead of us. And so I think now's the time to push a little bit harder. We've had a meeting, we've had discussions. We raise it all the time. Greg's going to continue raising it. Yeah, I actually think it's time to push a little bit more. We've been at this for a while now. Thanks.
Anybody else? I'll speak in favor of the amendment as well. I think similar reasons to Charlene. Obviously, with respect to Tanya's concerns, that we have to be careful in how we approach this, and staff will assist in appropriate means of writing an open letter and making sure that it's done in a sensitive way while still getting our point across. So I think from that perspective, I can support the amendment. So anyone else? Okay, I'll call the question on the amendment. All in favor? Carried. Look at that, Mark.
Yeah. Wonders do amaze.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to come back around to the motion as amended. I just want to confirm, Karen, did you get that? Okay, thank you. So now we're coming back to voting on the motion as amended. Is there any other comments? Discussion? See any? So I'll call the question on the motion as amended. All in favor? Carried. And thanks for being on screen, Tanya. It's way easier when I can see you raise your hand. So thanks for your report, Tanya. We'll move on to section 12.2, the Education Committee.
Sorry about that. There's just too many things to remember. Now I gotta find, okay, there. That the Board of Education of School District 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith, direct the board chair to appoint an ad hoc student voice committee with a mandate to identify and come up with solutions to the challenges as outlined in the report dated June 7th, 2023.
Wait, we have a seconder. Mark? Would you like to motivate the motion, Anne?
Yeah, I think we had a very wholesome discussion on this at our last Education Committee meeting. As I've stated before, I'm pretty passionate about student voice and finding a avenue or a place for them in our school board to contribute, listen, and learn about how governance happens. We need to teach democracy, and the best way to do it is to be involved. And I know we had a report, and it was there were some suggestions and sort of challenges that were outlined, and so this committee hopefully will be able to find more details about those challenges as well as come up with some solutions or ideas.
Thanks, Naomi. Any other discussion? Chantal?
I fully support this. I think it's a great way for us to have a deeper conversation, a more like a more complete discussion too that can include other voices as well, and how to do this in a really great way and a long-lasting way that can really go on for just not just our term, but maybe for a longer term, or ways that might need to be adapted or something. And I think this is a really great way to sort of look at that in all its facets. And I really, really, really appreciate Mark and Naomi really spearheading this whole thing. I think it's been really a great way to kind of figure out how we're going to in the best way. So thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Seeing none, I'll call a question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Sorry, Shani, you have a question? Go ahead.
I would like to know how to get on the committee.
So you have to talk to the chair. So yeah, so there'll be a process. Obviously, we'll have to figure out like what the committee structure is. We'll have some discussion around who's interested and what that structure might look like. And we'll go from there.
Thank you.
So my hope would be, based on our motion, have some, at least who's going to serve on the committee by the time we come back in September. And then from there, we'll reach out to figure out what the next steps might be. Okay, thank you. So moving on to item 13.1, Mark, with two policies, policy 2.5 update and bylaw, technically, bylaw 4.2.
Thank you, Chair. So these go together in the sense that so they've been out for public consultation. And
Mark. Leanna.
Sorry.
You may want to turn your mic off, Mark.
okay.
But you love technology.
So
I've been frozen for 20 minutes.
So these policies have been out, policy and bylaw have been out for consultation. We did, perhaps unsurprisingly, did not receive any. But just as a reminder, the two, one is a deletion of a bylaw, and that's the audit committee bylaw of the board. And as a reminder to this board has never had an audit committee despite having a bylaw. The previous board didn't. The previous board before that didn't. The previous board before that, we don't believe did. And so I think there was just an error a number of years ago about correcting this. At the same time, however, we think that the function is important and should be embedded in policy in some place. So what we've indicated is a change to 2.5 that just very specifically outlines the business committee as an appropriate place for the audit function to sit. Now, our yearly audit by our external group is going to come directly to the board, as it always has. However, I believe in our report we noted that we've started an internal audit process. The finance department has just instituted that for schools and departments, and so they'll be doing kind of spot checks and going through all the schools in a reasonably, multi-year program, and that will report back to the board, or sorry, to the business committee. If there's concerns or there's kind of specific schools, that'll probably be in a closed session because you're auditing a school, you're auditing pretty specific people typically, and it's not a bad process, to be clear, because we've had a very, very good experience in the first two schools that we've done, which will come to the board in the fall. So the recommendations have not changed, and no other updates are there for consideration.
Thank you, Mark, and I'd just like to say thank you for your support in the policy committee this year. Without Mark, let's just face it, we wouldn't be where we are today. So thank you for your work on that committee. I think we've accomplished quite a bit. So we do have a recommended motion. Is anyone willing to move the motion? Mark?
Greg, that the Board of Education of School District number 68 and I'm Ladysmith adopt revised policy 2.5, board committees representation and annual work plan, and delete bylaw 4.2, audit committee amended bylaw number 3-2202A.
We have a seconder. Charlie, would you like to motivate the motion, Mark?
I think that our Secretary Treasurer outlined it quite well why the motion is due. So yeah, thank you for all your work, Mark. Thank you.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to 13.2, Mark, with the NDSS capacity update.
Thank you, Chair. So I wish I had solutions this evening, and unfortunately I continue not to have solutions to ND. However, As the board will recall, when we did our consultation, we came back with essentially a recommendation to go do some more homework. And part of the homework was, I think something that we realized was we didn't know the community generally kind of understood the concerns with respect to capacity issues. So we heard that ND is beloved, we heard that people want to stay, which is awesome, which suggests that maybe the problems aren't as big as we thought capacity-wise. But we really wanted to get a sense of this from the students and from the teachers, what things are like on the ground at ND. And thank you, Mr. Burgos, and thank you, Superintendent Balcombe and the principal of ND, Ms. Reynolds, for getting together and getting us results. So the generic results are here, and just to be clear, we've given the board the qualitative as well as the quantitative. There's just, unfortunately, we think that probably too much personal information could be gleaned from the quantitative, or the qualitative, sorry, so they don't appear here, but the themes are quite similar to what you see, and that's really there is a problem. There is a feeling of lack of amenities, there's a feeling of safety, and I know there's some incidents happening around the time this happened, so that might have influenced. There's a feeling of crowded hallways. There's a feeling that I think is pretty clear that supports the original concern that something needs to be done to address that. So Mr. Burgos is here to help me answer any questions on that part of it. And maybe before questions, I'll just outline what else we've done in the interim. So superintendent, assistant superintendent, myself, we've met with a school district and made communication with a few others who have schools potentially in similar situations to see how they're addressing them. We will have more on that to come, hopefully in the early fall, about potential solutions that other districts do. We have very good news in the sense that school is over, but we do have occupancy for Hammond Bay, which means that we can move the portables. And so we're in that process now. Are they going to be there in time for fall to alleviate ND? No. But in reality, the school, we let them know well in advance of timetabling that that's not the likely situation, and so they've kind of postponed the use. So we do appreciate their flexibility on that front. There's some potential use of space at our partners in the city of Nanaimo. So you think we've got the NAC there, the ice center is there, we've got washrooms out at the track. So we're continuing discussions, and just want to June, thank you to our partners at the city of Nanaimo on that side for their flexibility with respect to accessing their facilities. And then the big one, though, and I think it's really important that we know going into the year end, is that we are anticipating changing the bell schedules on 2 days at ND to extend, so we can extend the between class times. And so what we've been hearing is kids are late. The hallways don't give you time to go to the bathroom, let alone enough bathrooms to go to the bathroom. And so by extending the times between classes, that will hopefully solve a little bit of that congestion and get kids on time. There is an impact, however. So it does change the end of day on Mondays and Wednesdays, which has a busing impact. So what the intention is, so the big impact is that it delays the Gabriola kids to get to the ferry. But the good news is that they were waiting on the other side anyway. So they go and catch a later ferry. The ferry they catch now on those days is having them wait on the other side if they want to get the bus. Now they'll take the ferry, get our bus on the other side. If they're getting picked up on the other side, it does delay them. And the school is, I think, very open-minded to addressing specific issues about kids wanting to maybe leave a little bit early, depending to do that. We're also looking at impacts on a small number of Mountain View, not Mountain View students, but students that live in the Mountain View catchment that go to ND. And we'll likely reach out to those individuals on their own accord. So whether it's a bus schedule or maybe there's an alternative we can do to support those secondary students to get there. But again, a relatively minor impact that we hopefully will be able to work through with the individuals impacted on the bus side, but we think a positive overall impact by lengthening that gap. And so, and maybe it'd be useful for the board as well. So ultimately, the principal has the authority as long as they're not breaching the collective agreement, and obviously they consult with their assistant superintendent and superintendent as required, but timetable the school. So this isn't a, hey board, do you approve this? Like that's not something that normally would come, but we think that it has impact on people and it's partially a solution to what the immediate issues that.
Thank you, Mark. Naomi.
Sorry. just having a technical- Okay, okay. So my question about you were talking about Indy and changing the slight time change or whatever to accommodate the getting to class in between blocks or whatever. Is there not a way, instead of changing that so it alters the after school time or whatever, can you not say it's going to be 4 minutes a block? Can you not, with the discussion of course, our stakeholders, can you not take time off of lunch hour or something like that, or maybe start a bit earlier, and take time off at lunch to make that accommodation so it doesn't affect the busing situation and everything?
So I'm not sure about the minutes with respect to lunch hour. I know that the discussions happened amongst the staff as well as with the principal at the school level, and this was determined to be appropriate. I cannot.
So I can speak to that because I know that was part of the conversation with staff at the time, and they preferred to have a little bit longer lunch hour. I'll also just clarify that Mark said something that I think was kind of important in that, as you know, ND has a rotating schedule. So if a student left a little bit early, and I think it's a couple minutes, Mark, with permission from the teacher to catch that earlier bus, I think it was 2 minutes. That would only be 2 minutes off each class every week because of that rotating timetable. So there is kind of a solution in that as well that would cause too much harm. Thank you.
Else? Thank you, Mark. Appreciate the report. So we will move on. We have no unfinished business or new business this evening. So under section 16 for information, 16.1, the board motions report, and 16.2, the trustee committee report. So are there any questions? These 2 items for information. Seeing none, do we have any questions this evening? No questions. Thank you, Karen. So we get a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Wow. Everybody. Naomi and Mark, all in favor? Very good. Thank you.